Joining me now is one of the journalists who reported accurately on the made-up story of Russia collusion that ripped the country apart, Lee Smith, who has also written most recently on communist China and its impact. Lee, thanks for being here. You've written 3 books on the Russia collusion story, the most important, The Plot Against the President. That was in 2019. What do you make of these newly declassified documents?
Well, Maria, it's something that you and I have been saying now for nearly a decade, which is the bad things they did, and they hid them. And we know the name of this investigation into Donald Trump directly, and he was president, by the way, not just candidate Trump, he was President Trump.
Yeah.
They call it Oxford Comma, and they misspelled it with an E in order to hide it. Right. So with FOIA requests or other things, when people went looking for information on Oxford Comma, they misspelled it. So no one could ever find it. So that's more evidence that they hid all this stuff. They knew they were doing something wrong. And the evidence is going to continue to point that way. They're going to keep digging up stuff that says the FBI did something wrong and they knew they were doing it wrong. And it's essential that finally, Maria, after nearly a decade, we have accountability for something you and I have been reporting, John Solomon, other folks have been reporting, Devin Nunes has been working on as well. My concern is that we're going to pass this on to the next generation. I don't want my children or grandchildren having to worry about this. I don't want people getting sick and tired every time they see Devin or me showing up on TV, your show, saying, I can't believe it. They still haven't gotten the bad guys at the bottom of this. We need to have this done within the next 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, just to be clear, the White House released a trove of documents showing that the FBI opened an investigation into Donald Trump personally. Not just his administration, that was already ongoing, but this was in 2017 into whether he was acting on behalf of Russia when he fired Jim Comey. So that's what you're talking about, and they called it Oxford Comma, but they spelled Oxford O-X-F-E-R-D. And you're saying they spelled it incorrectly because they wanted to hide it from FOIA requests?
Right. They wanted to hide what they were doing. This was opened up in May 2017.
Wow.
It was opened up after Donald Trump had fired James Comey on May 9th. Let's remember some of the other things that are happening around that time. It's May 15th when the Russian ambassador to U.S. and the Russian foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov, show up and meet with Donald Trump in the White House. Yeah. And you may remember press reports from the time. There was all the paranoia that Donald Trump is taking instructions from Lavrov and Kislyak. So that was a point of more hysteria whipped up by the FBI and whipped up by the media. And it was in that context, in that environment, that the FBI said, you know what? We're investigating everyone else in the administration as a whole. Yeah. Let's go after Donald Trump himself and Donald Trump.